Hey folks, welcome back to Pokémon-Amie. We're here in the Dendemil Pokémon Center, and in the last episode, we confronted Team Flare in the Frost Cavern and added a final team member to our party. And so this episode, this is going to be kind of a weird, funky episode. You could technically call it filler, but I wanted to demonstrate a couple of these side mechanics that I've been using in the background a little more thoroughly. And I am going to also address that whole evolving will thing that I know some of you have probably been wondering about. So this episode, we're going to evolve Will at the end, and we're also going to show off super training and Pokémon-Amie, including Pokémon-Amie mini-games. For the benefit of Ava. So let's start with super training. If you'll direct your attention down to the bottom screen, you will see that my whole team is kind of lying down. I think they're tired. I think they're tuckered out. But if we wake them up, they'll be full of energy. There's a punching bag on the left, and on the right is kind of a visual representation of the 6 primary stats: HP, attack, defense, speed, special attack, and special defense. And so that dark green there, that is kind of the Pokemon's inherent base stats in that particular stat. Ava, did you just punch things while you were asleep? Anyway, you can see Ava's a little more on the defense side than a lot of the other stats, but let's demonstrate it with someone like Dana. Bam. So you can see definitely speed oriented, special attack oriented, and then that light green, that is EVs, or effort points, or basically the additional stats on top of the IVs that affect what your Pokemon is proficient in. And so what super training does allows you to add to that green section. And you can see Dana is just about maxed out on speed, and I think completely maxed out on special attack. I got a couple random EVs in there from trainers and wild Pokemon, and I'm okay with that. So let's demonstrate how we increase these various stats. First, let's wake Ava up, and then head into the super training arena. I think arena might be a good term. And you can see there are different selections for the different stats. And if you complete super training in one of these given stats, that stat will be raised. There are 3 levels. Level 1 increases the number of EVs by 4. Level 2 increases them by 8. And level 3 by 12, which translates to 1, 2, or 3 total points in that stat at level 100. It sounds complicated, but basically, if you want a Pokemon to be good at attack, do attack. Want it to be fast, do speed. So for demonstration, let's show off the HP stat. So against this Wailmer. Basically, how it works is that there will be an inflatable balloon modeled after a certain Pokemon that generally has a good base stat in the stat you're looking at. And what you do is you attack its weak points for massive damage. Anyway, the way that I generally recommend to do this, shoot balls. And by the way, when the box is orange, you are doing extra, or it stays in that same location. You can shoot it over and over. Generally, what I like to do is kind of charge up my shots like that till there's a red target reticle, and then fire. When it's charged, it does, I want to say quad or triple damage, maybe. I don't know. It does more damage. Another thing to note is that different Pokemon have different shot types. I actually haven't worked with this shot type that Ava has, which strikes me as weird. I don't entirely know how it works, but basically When you shoot one of those targets, you earn points. When you get enough points, you win. And if you hit the target time, you get a medal. Hooray. And then when you finish a super training regimen, you also get a punching bag. So if you select the punching bag here, you can pick from a variety of punching bags. So use the one we just got, an HP bag M. So punching bags also will give you a certain number of EVs in the given stat. And you'll always get a punching bag for the stat that you've been training. But the numbers are a little different. They come in small, medium, and large. Smalls increase by 1 EV, mediums by 4 EVs, and then larges by 12. So while they are quicker, they're not necessarily as effective unless you get a large one. So we just gained 4 more points on HP for a total of 8, and that means we'll have, actually the calculations might be different for HP. We will have more HP at level 100, and actually a little more right now. So if you're not familiar with EVs, you can keep doing this up to a total of 252 in a given stat, which will translate to, I think, roughly 63 at level 100 for any of the stats that aren't HP. That's super training. I've done a lot of that off screen with my various other team members. You can see I've had them specialized in certain stats that are applicable to them. And Ava, I'm gonna specialize in attack just because I do want to have a good offensive base. But her other strengths lie in HP and defense, so those are going to get 126 each-ish. I'm not gonna be too exact, I don't really care. And that's super training. It's a whole thing. It's meant to make EV training faster, and I actually kind of enjoy doing it. I've EV trained a Pokemon, a couple Pokemon actually just for fun over on Alpha Sapphire. Just today I EV trained the event Darkrai that was done for 20th anniversary. So I actually enjoy it. Anyway, other thing to look at is the Pokémon-Amie. We've looked around it a little bit, but I want to show off all the intricacies. First off, let's switch over to Ava. And can see all of those stats are completely empty: affection, fullness, and enjoyment. And frankly, I'm not entirely sure how they all relate. I think when one goes up, others go down. But I've established a system on how to interact with Pokemon to maximize their affection as soon as possible. So first things first, when you are petting a Pokemon, they have a favorite spot, and I'm not sure where Ava's is. That might be it. So when you rub it in its favorite spot, under certain conditions it will give you hearts. Under other conditions it'll just give you the musical note. We'll cross that bridge in just a sec. One of the big things you also do in Pokémon-Amie is feed your Pokemon Pokepuffs. And the more elaborate a Pokepuff, the more hearts you get. And often I found that I get a huge backlog of really crappy Pokepuffs that I just kind of have to begrudgingly use. These good ones, they give you like 5. Now, Ava's singing a lot, and I'm not sure why. Oh god. Whoop. See, I see all these bland pink Pokepuffs. Yeah, all those basic pink Pokepuffs give you 2 hearts compared to like the 4 or 5 I was getting from other things. Note that the color of the Pokepuff does not matter. Your Pokemon does not care. Anyway, I believe now Yep, Ava is full, so we can't feed any more Pokepuffs right now. To make her eat again, we will play a mini game. And I'm just going to play them on easy. Actually, no. Let's play on hard. I apologize if I get a little quiet here. This does require focus. Berry Picker has you match the berries that are growing on the tree to the Pokemon that request them. And of course, they disappear. And they start to disappear faster. So yeah, level hard berry picking minigame, actually pretty tough. You can see I was messing up quite a bit at the end there, but I still got 4 stars out of it and got some pretty decent Pokepuffs out of the deal. So now, Ava actually would be willing to eat more right now, but I'm going to show off the other 2 minigames. Next up is Head It. Now, I'm either going to be pretty good at this or absolutely terrible. But basically, you tap Pokemon with good timing. Oh, build up a combo. When you have a combo going, you get more points. And when you try to commentate and play at the same time, it doesn't work. And I have no idea how to hit this. I've never hit that wall of yarn in my entire life. Anyway, that wasn't a great performance. I crack under pressure. I apologize. And then our final minigame is Tile Puzzle. Basically, you get a picture, a moving picture, and you have to switch tiles in order to form the correct picture. It's all mixed up at the beginning, and then you reform it. So my strategy here is generally to get the corner pieces in, and then replace all the side pieces onto the proper side. I'm sure if I played this more, or actually paid attention, I'd be able to identify where on the side each side piece needs to go, and be able to do that immediately. But as of right now, I'm not at that point. So once everything is in place, I then swap around these side pieces until they're all in place. Now, just fill in the middle. If you're lucky, then you've already accidentally kind of completed some of it. then I'll often try to get the floor tiles all at the right place. So if it's up above, it's clearly sky, then I'll put it in the sky. If it's clearly air, or clearly floor, I'll put it on the floor. And even though I was commentating there and making mistakes, that's usually about the pace I go. 115 is about on par for me. Those top results are pretty unusual. Anyway, those are the 3 Pokémon-Amie games. And for performing well for them, not only do you get Pokepuffs, but for whatever reason, your Pokemon will be more receptive to petting. And you'll actually get hearts out of petting. So you'll keep petting your Pokemon over and over and over. Slowly, their hearts you'll get fewer hearts per pet, and then it'll switch back to the musical note. I think I got one more here. I've never actually counted. It might be easily quantifiable. So yeah, that was 1 heart. Now, let's feed some fine Pokepuffs. And that means you've gone up an affection level. So once the Pokemon starts dancing, and there are a bunch of hearts, you've gone up an affection level. And you'll be able to see... Oh, by the way, you can get prizes for decorations. You'll be able to see on the Switch screen here, Ava is now affection level 2. So, that is how Pokémon-Amie works. And you can see all these other folks are at level 4. Ava will get back up there, but I'm not going to show the whole process on screen. That'd be tedious as heck. Anyway, we've shown off Super Training, and we've shown off Pokémon-Amie, both of which I will complete the processes for off video. The last thing, as promised, we are going to evolve Will today. And the thing about Will is that he is actually a trade evolution. He evolves into Gourgeist when he is traded. Now, you can get a friend to help you with this, or if you have 2 different Pokemon games and access to Wi-Fi, you can do it by yourself on the GTS. And there's a pretty darned safe way to do it. You need Pokebank though, which is a good service. I like it a lot. So here's what we're gonna do. First, I'm gonna open that present, and then we are going to stick Will in the PC just temporarily, just so we can get him into Pokebank. And now, we're actually going to set up the trade right now. So connect to the internet, do everything that you need to do in order to go onto the GTS, etc., etc. Takes a little bit. And now, let's save again and head to the GTS. So the other thing that you will need for this is a regular kind of garbage Pokemon that you don't care about losing, just in case something went wrong. I have these 3 Scatterbug that have been helping me with trade evolutions for my living decks. What you'll do is deposit 1 such Pokemon, and then seek the kind of Pokemon that you are trying to evolve. So in this case, we are going to seek a Pumpkaboo. And if we want to really get ridiculous, male between levels 41 and 50, just to make really, really sure that, or minimize the chance that someone else has this Pokemon that we're trying to trade. Generally, no one in their right mind will trade a Pumpkaboo for a level 2 Scatterbug. That would just be not a good trade. And then, you can also be super careful here. I'm trading with myself. So hopefully people read that message and realize, okay, this isn't actually a trade that they want the other person to do. They're just trading with themselves. So we have now put up a Scatterbug to trade for Will. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to use Pokebank to transfer Will over to my Alpha Sapphire game. And then trade that, using my Alpha Sapphire game, trade Will for that Scatterbug. So we're going to quit the GTS. Save for good measure. And let's swap, let's go to Pokebank. I know I'm breaking all the immersion of the game by doing this. I feel so naughty. So connecting to the internet always takes a little while, and I apologize for that. So use Pokemon Bank, use that game. I am not going to take any of those battle points or Pokemiles. I keep those on my Alpha Sapphire file. Alright, so you can see we've got Pokebank up on the top screen and the PC for the game down here on the bottom. And all we need to do is move Will over to the bank. I have a box dedicated to that, but you know, you can use any box you like. Then we save and quit. And make sure that it actually does save and send it to the server, which can be a problem if your internet cuts out or is slow, or if the bank is just feeling fussy, which it does frequently. Alright. So, now that we have transferred from Y to the bank, we are now going to switch game cartridges, which I'm doing off screen, but you can hear the clacking. And now, Alpha Sapphire has been inserted. So if you haven't played Alpha Sapphire, or you're like, oh no, I don't want to see any Alpha Sapphire in my beautiful, pure Pokémon-Y series, you can avert your eyes for just a little bit. Oh, I have some battle points to pick up. And then just gotta bring Will over to, oh, what's my, doesn't matter what box I'd put him in really, but I just like to keep things organized. And so we are now saving Will onto the Alpha Sapphire cartridge. Good, good. And now we switch over to Alpha Sapphire. So, just like we did, oopsie, that's the wrong one. Just like we did in Y version, we will connect to the internet and then log on to the GTS. But this time, we will be seeking a Pokemon rather than depositing. So one of the really cool things about the GTS here is that you don't even need to have the Pokemon in your party to put it on the GTS and trade it. I think it's so convenient that you can just have it traded from your PC, even if you're nowhere close to a PC. Alright, we are on the internet. Let's get on the GTS. So now, we are going to seek a Scatterbug. There we go. And now we just gotta find the one that we put up for trade in our Y version, which happens to be this one. And we will trade Will. See you, Will. See you in just a little bit. Then we'll get the Scatterbug on this side. Now, if, God forbid, someone had traded their own Pumpkaboo for that Scatterbug, we would still have Will, and we'd just have to deposit another Scatterbug or Poochyena or Zigzagoon or whatever the heck you wanted to put up. This way, there's no risk, because you're not putting the Pokemon you want to trade onto the GTS until it's actually time to do the final trade. Alright, now let's switch back to Y and receive Will from the GTS. So the one downside of this system does require a lot of connecting to the internet. You gotta connect to put the initial trade up, you gotta connect via bank twice, you have to connect again to do the trade, and you have to connect one last time to fulfill the trade and actually receive your Pokemon back. If your internet connection isn't great, that can be a bit of a problem, but this is a pretty otherwise great method of getting trade evolutions with yourself using only one 3DS. And ta-da, we got Will back. And because he is a trade evolution, he will evolve. And there we go. With that, Will has evolved into a Gourgeist. And that whole process is complete. So let's get out of the GTS, grab Will from the PC, and check out his stats now. Alright, so you can see now his attack is 143, defense 133, and HP 156. That is roughly comparable with the highest stats of a lot of the other Pokemon on my team. Petra's got bit higher attack. Robin has a bit higher speed, but special attack and speed stats for like Dana and Vivi, pretty darn comparable. So Will is now back now Will is on par with the rest of the team, and Ava is our last Pokemon to work with. But we'll save that for next time. We've done plenty in this episode. If you actually did watch this, I hope you learned something. If you didn't learn anything, I hope I didn't do it wrong. It worked, so... Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.